So in the last session, we have discussed about the licenses overview, and we have discussed what exactly a license, what a license represents, what is the use of this license, and what type of licenses are available in Salesforce, and what each license will describes, and how many licenses has been given by Salesforce by default as part of free developer account on free of cost. And then how can we verify how many licenses are available, how many licenses that we have used, how many licenses has remains, when that license will get expired. We'll see. So even though we are using that free developer account, by default Salesforce has given some set of free licenses to you. Now, as part of this free developer account, Salesforce has given the two Salesforce licenses, three platform licenses, 5,000 charter free licenses, 5 customer community licenses. So these are the various licenses has been given by Salesforce by default as part of free developer account on free of cost. Now in the last session we have discussed how can we verify how many number of licenses that we have used, how many licenses remains, when that license will get expired. Everything we have discussed in the last session. Now, so now in today's session, we are going to discuss about the profiles. And what exactly the profile, what a profile describes, what it contains basically, how many profiles that we have, how can we create our profiles and how can we assign, we'll see practically. For example, assume that I have an organization. Assume that I have a Salesforce.com organization. So this is my Salesforce.com organization. So now this is my Salesforce.com organization. That means my Salesforce account. So now inside my Salesforce.com organization, I'm having so many features are there. Like I have so many standard and custom functionalities are available inside this. So now as part of my Salesforce.com organization, I'm having so many standard and custom functionalities are available. Like I have so many objects. It may be standard objects, custom objects, standard tabs, custom tabs, standard fields, custom fields, standard applications, custom applications, standard features, custom features. So many things are there. I'm having so many features as part of my Salesforce.com organization. Now, for example, assume that inside my organization, I'm having 5 licenses. Okay, I have 5 Salesforce licenses. I have 5 Salesforce licenses. So these are the licenses that we have. 5 licenses. All are Salesforce licenses. That means full licenses. Now tell me, with these with these 5 Salesforce licenses, how many users can I create? 5 users. That already we have discussed in the last session itself. By using a license, we can create a user. That means every user should require a license. So without the license, a user cannot be created. So upon creating a new user record, license is a mandatory field. Okay, license is a mandatory field. So compulsorily we have to assign one license to the user. That license will decide what features that user can access from my organization. But now I'm having all our Salesforce licenses. So that already you are aware of that Salesforce license will be granting the access on both standard and custom functionalities to the user. Now, the flexibility is available as part of this Salesforce license. Now, by using these 5 Salesforce licenses, we can create how many users? 5 users we can create. So now in this case here, I'm creating these 5 users. I'm creating the 5 users with these 5 licenses. Now, so this is the user 1. Here is a user 1. And then I'm having another user. There is a user 2. And I have one more user, user 3. And I have one more user, user 4. And then I'm having user 5. So these are the 5 users are available. So in this case here, to create this user 1, for this user 1 I have assigned the license 1. Now, one license I have assigned to the user 1. Still how many licenses are remains? 4. Totally I'm having 5, and then one license I have assigned to the user 1, so that one license is used, 4 licenses are remains. Second license I'm assigning to this user 2. And how many remains? 3. I have created one more user by assigning the license 3. How many remains? 2. And then I have assigned license 4 to this another user. How many remains? 1. I have assigned the 5th license to the user 5. How many remains? 0. So now these are the various users we have created by using these licenses. Now, so here's a user 1, here's a user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5. So these are the 5 users that we have. So for these users, 5 licenses I have assigned. License 1 I have assigned to the user 1, and then I have assigned the license 2. Second license I have assigned to that user 2, and then I have assigned license 3 to the user 3, and the license 4 to the user 4, and the license 5 to the user 5. So all these licenses I have assigned to this user, so that licenses are full. No more licenses, so that available licenses are 0. All the licenses I have used. Now in this case, now tell me, all the licenses are of type what? Salesforce licenses. All are 5 Salesforce licenses only. So the Salesforce license will grant access on what? It will grant access on both standard and custom functionalities. Every standard functionality, every custom functionality we can access with the help of this Salesforce license. But my requirement is, so now for this user 1 and for the user 2, for this user 1 and the user 2, I want to grant the access on only on standard. Okay. So for these users, user 1 and the user 2, I want to grant only the standard functionality access. They should not be able to access any of the custom functionality. This is my requirement. For the user 3 and the user 4, I want to grant the access on the custom functionality. And for this user 5, I want to grant the access on both the standard and custom functionality. This is my requirement. Then how can we restrict the visibility of these features? I have assigned the license to the people. So this license is granting the full permission so that these users are able to access all the functionalities. They can access standard functionality, custom functionality, all these things. But my requirement is I want to restrict the visibility. I want to restrict the accessibility of my features for these users. So the user 1 and the user 2 should be able to access only the standard functionalities, and user 3 and the 4 should be able to access only custom, like as only custom applications, custom tabs, custom objects, custom fields, custom functionalities. And then the user 5 should be able to access both standard and custom. This is my requirement. Then how can we do that? So in this case here, we can't restrict like this. Okay, we can't restrict like this because we have assigned the license. So the license is granting full permission, the user is accessing. That's it. But in this case, to give you a break, to give you a break to the people, that means here, instead of accessing all the features, I want to restrict. For that one, what I want to do is, in between that Salesforce.com organization and the users, I would like to introduce a mediator component over here. Between my Salesforce.com organization and the users, I would like to introduce a mediator component over here. So now in between that, I'm going to introducing a mediator component that is called as profile. Okay, that is called as profile. Then what exactly a profile, what it describes? When coming to the profile, profile is nothing but a component. Okay, profile is nothing but a component or a feature which contains some set of permissions, okay, which contains a set of permissions to be get applicable to the users. Suppose, for example, come to a general scenario. Assume that today I'm joining into a company, for example, some TCS. I got an offer in TCS. So today is a onboarding date. Today is my joining date in some TCS. So I went to the TCS and I'm done with my onboarding formalities. My joining formalities has been done. And then the HR people has assigned one access card to me to enter into the organization premises. So I got that access card. So now what is that access card will give the provision? That access card will be giving the provision to you. With that access card, we can able to enter into the entire organization premises and we can able to utilize all the resources, whatever they have inside that organization. Because inside that company, they're having that workstations are available, conference rooms are there, cafeteria is available, and then they can enter into the organization premises, server room is available, electricity room is available, everything is there. Now in this case, whenever if you want to enter into that any of that area, we have to swipe your access card, then that access card will allows you to enter into that area. So that we can able to, it will open the door and then we can enter into that area itself. We can utilize that organization resource. Now, in this case, for example, I'm a Salesforce developer or I'm a Java developer, .NET developer, whatever. So now TCS people has assigned one access card to me. Now, with that access card, I have opened that doors and I went into the organization premises. And then I went to the cafeteria, I went to the conference rooms, I went to that workstations everywhere. But when I go to that server room, when I swipe my card, the doors are not opening. It is not allowing me to enter into that server room. When I go to that electricity room, when you swipe that card, it is not allowing me to enter into the electricity room. Because why? I don't have the permission. That means here where they have indicated the permission inside my access card. That access card will decide up to what level we can utilize the organization resources. Even though the company will be having so many resources, so many resources are available, but what resources we can utilize, up to what level I can utilize, that will be decided by my access card itself. Even though there is a server room, electricity room, CEO room, everything is available, but my access card will decide whether I can enter into that room or not. That means what here, in that access card, they have given some set of permissions to open some certain areas. They are giving the provision to you to utilize the resources of that organization up to some extent, not all. Like the similar way here also, the profile will work. When coming to the profile contains some set of permissions which can be assigned to the users. So in this case, in between the user and the organization, I would like to introduce a profile. Okay, between the user and the organization, I would like to introduce a profile. So at that time, if the licensee is granting the full permission, then my profile will restrict that. My profile will control. Because it's like as a controlling mechanism. It's like as a controlling mechanism over here. Okay, it's like as a controlling mechanism where it will control the visibility of the features to you. Suppose if the licensee is giving the full permissions, then through the profile we can control. Suppose here, if the user is trying to be accessing some more features, okay, forcefully, then the profile will control that. From both the sides, it will control. So now simply in one thing, okay, like as in a general scenario, assume that, come to a general scenario. Assume that, for example, today I got a lottery. Okay, I got a lottery of some 10 lakhs rupees. I have purchased a lottery ticket by spending some 10 rupees, and I luckily I got a lottery of 10 lakhs rupees. As soon as whenever we are aware of this information, immediately we are praising the God. Because of the God, I got some 10 lakhs rupees. Suppose, for example, if I lost 1000 rupees, then we are blaming the God. Okay, because of God, I lost 1000 rupees. That means what? If we got something because of God, if we lost something because of God, that means everywhere, every time we are going to be either praising the God or we are going to blaming the God also. Like the similar way here also, the profile. For every user, profile is a God. If we got the access of some features, then because of profile. If you are unable to access any of the feature, then because of profile itself. So that profile is a guard for each and every user. So that here in this case here, I would like to introduce a profile over here. Then how can we introduce that profiles now? Let's see practically in this case here. So now between the organization and the users, I would like to introduce the profiles. Now for this user 1 and the user 2, I would like to grant the permissions on only standard. So that here, I'm creating a profile over here. I'm creating a profile. So this is the profile I would like to create. So now inside this profile, I'm giving that name profile 1, which is going to be granting access on only standard functionalities. Only standard features. Only the standard functionalities will be accessible with the help of this profile. That means here what I will do is inside this profile I will grant the permissions only on the standard functionalities. Then what I will do is now this profile I would like to assign to these users. Here is a profile here. Now this profile I would like to assign to the user 1 and to the user 2. Because here for both the people I want to grant access on only standard. So that here I am going to be assigning the same profile to both the users as well. That means what? When coming to a profile, profile contains a set of permissions which can be assigned to one or more number of users inside the organization. That is, a single profile can be get assigned to multiple users. Because here, for the user 1 and the user 2, I need to grant the same permissions, so that here I am going to be assigning the same profile to these users. So that upon creating a user record, we need two things mandatorily. One is profile, second one is license. Without using any one of this, we can't create the user record. So that upon creating a user record, we need two things mandatorily, that is profile and license. These two are the base thing. Without any one of these, without profile also we can't create the users, without license also we can't create the users. So both are mandatory here. Is the fundamental principle. Now, for the user 3 and the user 4, I would like to grant the permissions on only on the custom functionalities. So that I'm creating one more profile over here. I'm creating another profile. In this profile, I'm granting the permissions on only on the custom functionalities. So this is the profile 2. It will be granting access on only on custom features. Only on custom features. So now here in this case. So now this profile I am going to be assigning to the user 3 and the user 4. So that we can enable the permissions on only on the custom functionalities inside this profile 2. And for this user 5, I want to grant the access on both standard and custom. So that here I am going to be creating one more profile over here. Here is the third profile. Now I'm giving that name as profile 3. Inside this profile, I'm granting the features on both standard and custom. So I'm going to be enabling the access on both the standard and custom functionalities over here. Now, so now this profile I would like to assign to the user 5. This profile I'm assigning to that user 5. So in this case, what happened when coming to the profile? Profile is nothing but a component, or profile is nothing but a feature which contains some set of permissions can be assigned to one or more number of users. So that here a single profile can be get assigned to the multiple users as well, because both the users require the same permission, so that we can assign the same profile to that multiple users. So now here in this case observe the association. Now one profile we are assigning to that multiple users, but every user should be associated with only one profile. That means user to profile we are having one-to-one association, profile to user we are having one-to-many association. That means one profile we can assign to the multiple users. Association is very, very important. Now, so now every user should have only one profile, only one license, not multiple. But one profile can be get assigned to multiple users, so that all the users information will be storing inside that user object. Okay, all the users information will be storing inside the user object here. We have the user object. In that user object, all the users information will be getting resides. And all the profiles information will be getting storing inside the profile object. All the licenses information will be getting resides inside the user license object. Okay. User license object. Now, observe the association here. Now, user to profile, we are having one-to-one association. Okay, one-to-one. But the profile to user, we are having one-to-many association. But now the profile is associated with what? Profile is associated with that license. Okay, every profile is associated with this license. Now, all these three profiles are related to which type of licenses? Salesforce licenses only. So that here profile is associated with that license. Then what is the association? Every profile should be associated with a license over here. But now for the Salesforce license, how many profiles you have created here? Three. So that here license to profile we're having one to many association. So that with one license type we can create multiple profiles also. But now for all these 5 users I'm giving the same license, that is Salesforce license only. But here in this case here, now I have prepared these separate profiles so that even though license is giving the full permissions, my profile will control the visibility. So that here when coming to the licenses will be granting the permissions, and then whatever the permissions are granting with the license, those permissions we can restrict with the help of the profiles. So that profile is a mediator component between the user and the organization, where profile contains some set of permissions. Now what permissions we can specify inside the profile? Through the profile we can grant the permissions on application level. What applications can be accessible by the user we can decide. What objects the user can access. What tabs the user can access. What fields the user can access. What page layouts the user can access. What record types the user can access. What general permissions can be applicable. What custom permissions can be applicable. What administrative permissions can be applicable. What system permissions can be applicable. What session settings to be applicable. What password policies to be applicable, what login IP ranges to be applicable, what login hours to be applicable, what Apex classes can be applicable, what Visual First page can be accessible, what named credentials can be accessible, what external data sources can be accessible, what connected apps can be accessible, what fields can be accessible. Everything we can able to specify inside the profile level itself. This all these permissions we can specify inside the profile. So that through profile we can grant the access on applications, we can grant the access on objects, tabs, fields, page layouts, record types, general permissions, custom permissions, system permissions, administrative permissions, Apex classes, Visual Force pages, named credentials, external data sources, login IP ranges, login hours, session settings, password policies, everything, all the permissions you can grant with the help of profile. So that profile is the base. If you are unable to access any of the feature, then the problem is because of profile. In the profile level, you don't have the permission. If you are able to access the feature, that means because of the profile. In the profile level, they have granted the permission to you. So in this case, profile is a base component for each and every user. What features this user can access, that will be decided by the profile itself. Even though licensee is granting the full permission, the profile will restrict to you. So now, when coming to that users, every user should be associated with a profile. So now here in this case when coming to the Salesforce, we have two types of profiles are available in Salesforce. Okay, the Salesforce is providing two types of profiles. We have two types of profiles in Salesforce. First one is standard profiles. Second one is the custom profiles. We have two types, standard profiles and then custom profiles. Then what exactly is standard profile? What exactly custom profile? You know that since the beginning we are discussing the same thing, nothing new. Standard profiles are nothing but what? These are the ready-made profiles. These are the ready-made profiles which has been given by Salesforce by default. Okay, which has been given by Salesforce by default. Inside those profiles, some permissions has been enabled. Okay, inside those profiles, some permissions has been enabled. Then, so in this case, suppose if we want to grant some more permissions, then what we can do? We need to enable those features. But the problem is, inside the standard profiles, all the permissions cannot be enabled. That means all the options cannot be editable. Okay, all the options cannot be editable. That is a major problem. Because here, whatever the standard profiles has been given by Salesforce, these standard profiles can be editable up to some extent. All the options cannot be editable inside this standard profile. And that too, whatever the standard profiles are available in Salesforce, those standard profiles we can't remove from that Salesforce instance. This should be the fixed one. We can't remove these standard profiles from that organization. In this case here, okay, in this case, whatever the permission that you want to grant to the user, if that permission is not editable inside the profile, then we can't assign that permission to the user. That is a problem. So for that one, when coming to the Salesforce, they have given that recommendation to you. They are always recommending to you, don't assign the standard profiles to the users. Please create your own custom profile with cloning in existing one. So take any one of the standard profile and make a clone. That means create a copy. That means we are creating our own custom profile. Then that custom profile we will be creating by whom? Ourselves. That means user. We are creating this. Administrator is creating that profile. So now, if we are creating the profile, then who is the owner? Myself. As a owner, I will be having the full control on that, so that I can able to edit any options inside that. So that here, when coming to the Salesforce, as a best practice, it is always recommending by the Salesforce, don't assign the standard profiles to the users, create your own custom profiles, and then assign the custom profiles to the users. So there is a base functionality. So in this case here, when coming to the profiles, custom profiles are nothing but the profiles which have been created by the developers or administrators here. The admin person or the developers can create the profiles over here. These profiles we can able to assign to the users, because standard profiles are editable up to some extent, and that too we can't remove those standard profiles which is given by Salesforce. That will be the fixed one. But here, instead of doing that, we need to create our own custom profiles, and then those custom profiles we can able to assign to the users itself. So that always it is recommended by the Salesforce here. Don't assign the standard profiles to the users. Create your own custom profile and then assign that custom profile to the user. It's a fundamental principle. So always we have to assign the custom profiles to our users itself. Don't assign the standard profiles. Now, in this case here, where exactly this profiles information is available? In order to see this profiles information, go to the setup menu. Go to the administer menu in the left panel. Go to the manage users and then click on profiles. There we can able to see all the profiles which has been given by Salesforce and the profiles which has been created by you in the past. So what are the profiles that you have created in the past and what are the profiles given by the Salesforce, all those profiles will be getting visible inside this profiles list, so that we can view the profiles which are available inside my organization. Now, let me show you that. Go to the Salesforce instance. Go to the manage users inside the organization and then click on profiles. As soon as once you click on the profiles, it is populating the profiles here. So these are the various profiles are available inside my organization currently. So Salesforce has given that totally 36 profiles are available. Then how do we know whether it is a standard or custom profile? So here there is a column called as custom column. If the profile is a custom profile, these are the profile names are available. These are the profile names are available. So now here in this case here, when coming to this profile here, if the profile is a custom one, here the checkbox will be getting selected. But the checkboxes are not selected. That means these are all our standard profiles which has been given by Salesforce. That's what here when you go to these actions also, you are having only two actions that we can perform. One is edit, second one is clone. We don't have any delete option over here, because here standard profiles cannot be deleted or removed from that organization. These will be the fixed components. So that whatever the profiles has been given by Salesforce, those standard profiles we can't remove, that we can able to assign to the users and we can make it clone. But we can't remove these standard profiles from your organization. It's a fundamental principle. Then how can we create our own custom profiles? Now let's see practically here. So now here as part of my requirement, I want to create our own custom profile. Now here in this case here, what licenses are available with me? So I'm having a few licenses are available here. How many licenses are available? Now, as part of my Salesforce Free Developer Edition, I'm having one license available here. Why one license available? What is the second license? What about the second license here? Second license is utilizing by that administrator. Whatever the user account that we are using right now, that the user is utilizing one license. So that one license is in use, one Salesforce license is remains. Then coming to the platform, all the three licenses are available here. Because we haven't used this one, all the three licenses are available. So these are the two licenses which are going to be granting access on your applications, features, objects, tabs, fields, everything. And then, so that here with these four available licenses, I would like to create four users in Salesforce. Suppose if you want to verify how many licenses available, now let's see. Let's go to that company profile, go to the company information. Now when you come down, here we are having the user licenses section. In this user licenses section, we can able to see Salesforce licenses. How many given by Salesforce? Total number of licenses they have given as 2. And then user licenses 1. That means administrator person is using one license. That means here the currently logged in user will be using one license and one license is remains. Expiration date is nothing. That means it won't expire this account here. Platform licenses, how many? 3. We haven't used anything, so that user licenses are 0, all the 3 remains. Customer community licenses, they have given 5, we haven't used any, all the 5 are remains. Like that here, we can verify how many licenses has been given by Salesforce, how many licenses we have used, how many remains, everything we can verify inside this user licenses section. So all these licenses information will be storing inside an object called as user license object. So user license is a standard object in Salesforce which will be holding all the licenses information.
Platform license is the one which will give you access to the tabs, I mean to say.
Sorry?
So platform license is the one that is required if you want to add any object and view it in the tab and all. So you need the platform licenses, you mean to say?
If I am granting that platform license, then we can able to implement only the custom functionalities. Okay, you can create your own applications, objects, tab, everything. But we can't access all the standard functionalities. Standard applications can't accessible, standard objects we can't accessible. Suppose if I'm granting the Salesforce license, then you can able to access both standard and custom. Whenever you are joining into an organization as a Salesforce developer, we need Salesforce license. Why? Because, okay, on the requirement here, sometimes we need to work on standard features, sometimes we need to work on custom features, sometimes we need to work on both also. At that time, the requirement will decide so that we should be ready with that licenses. So that whenever I'm joining into an organization, we need that Salesforce license. So that those people will create your user account with the Salesforce license here. So that you can able to access all. So based on the requirement, you can start working on that.
And why is that one user cannot have multiple profiles? That I can understand one profile can have multiple users.
Okay.
Similarly, why is it not vice versa? Like I know you have divided like standard, and custom. So you covered all the profiles. So you thought, okay, all the users, separate specific users, we can assign through profiles.
Okay.
It could be something like, okay, one profile might be required by 2 users. It means one user might be requiring using 2 profiles. That will never happen, you feel, in real time.
In this case here, when coming to the Salesforce, for example, if I am assigning one more profile to the same user itself, in that profile, whatever the permissions are there, those are also applicable. But for example, in the second profile, whatever the permissions are there, from those I want only some features to be applicable to the user one. Then what we can do? Then for this one, we need to create a separate profile right again with that only those features. For example, I'm having one more profile is available. Now, I'm having one more profile, like some profile 4. In this one, I have granted the permissions on some 10 permissions over here. Okay, 10 permissions I have granted. Assume that here I have another user. I have another user here. Okay, I have another user. So for this user, I have assigned this profile. Now, so this user person can able to access all the 10 features. Now for this user 1, I want some of the features here. Nothing but 5 features I want from this out of 10. But we can't decide. We can't divide. Because for user 1, some features, user 2, some features not like that. We can't decide here. There is no such kind of possibility in Salesforce. In this case here, if you want to grant some more additional permission, then Salesforce has given one more feature called as permission sets. So now through profiles, whatever the permissions that you are granted, along with those permissions, if you want to give some additional permissions to the user, then we can go with the permission sets. For that one here, we are not going to be assigning the multiple profiles to the user. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Okay,
Thanks.
now. So now here in this case here, so now here in this case, when coming to the profiles, then how to create our own custom profiles? Now let's see. Suppose if you want to create your own custom profile, then we have to go to that, the profiles information. Here we are having an option called as new profile button. So there is a button called as new profile. By using this new profile button, we can able to create our own custom profile depends upon our requirement. Based on the requirement, we can able to create the profile as well. So in this case, upon creating the profile, we have to clone an existing one. For example, here. Now here, I'm having few licenses are available. What type of licenses? Salesforce licenses are available with me. So that I want a profile which is of type Salesforce license, which is associated to Salesforce license. And I want a profile which is related to that platform license. Because user is associated to that profile, profile is associated to that license. See, observe the hierarchy over here. For example, I'm creating a record. Okay, I'm creating a record. In which object? For example, any of the object account here. Who is creating the record now? User. Users are creating the records. That means record is related to, account is related to, account record is related to user. User is related to what? Profile. Profile is related to what? License. License is related to what? Organization. Organization is related to what? Server. Server is related to what? Region. Region is related to what? Salesforce.com organization. This is the hierarchy. Okay. This is the hierarchy that we have. So now in this case, generally as of now, we are going to be creating the record. The user will thought of, I have created the record. When you click on save, record is created. Then how, because of this much of hierarchy is there. So now I'm creating the account record simply. Who is creating that account record? User, because he is the owner of the record here. Owner means user. User is related to profile. Profile is related to license. License is related to organization. Organization is related to server. Server is related to region. The region is related to the Salesforce.com organization. This much of hierarchy is available here upon creating a single record itself. So these many number of levels of accesses we need in order to create a single record.
In order to create an account record, you need to have all this user profile, license, organization.
Yes, everything. Because here, that's what here, now we have created an account record. Who is that account record here? Now let's see. For example, we have created a record like a Samark Pharma. Here's the record we have created. Who is the owner of this one? Training batch. Okay, training batch is a user, owner here. Now, once you go to this one, this is a user. Okay, this is a user here. Now this user is related to your profile. Let me verify. Go to the setup. Go to the users. Here we can see. This is the training batch user. This user is related to, associated to your profile. This is a profile, system administrator. Now, when this user has created, upon creating my Salesforce account, whatever the details I have entered inside the registration form, with those details, Salesforce has created a user record here. Now, this user is having the profile, system administrator. Once you click on this profile, it is indicating that. Now, this is the profile here, system administrator. This profile is related to the Salesforce license. Okay, it is related to that Salesforce license. Now, this license is available where? Inside my organization. My organization is available where? Inside my server, that is AP0 server. Server is available where? Inside the Asia Pacific region. And then the reason is related to the Salesforce.com organization. Like that, here the hierarchy is available. Okay. Upon creating a single record, we are having this much of hierarchy internally. Now, this is how Salesforce is maintaining the security by having this many number of levels. Now, in this case here, what the Salesforce will do is, suppose for example, I'm creating that some account record here. I've entered some details inside my form, and after entering some details, when I click on save button, what will happen? Salesforce will be sending all my details to the Salesforce server. Now this browser is sending the whole details to my Salesforce server. Server will be verifying the whole information. First of all, it will collect my organization ID. Because I already told you, upon click on that save button, it will be sending so much information along with your organization ID, user ID also. It will go to collect my organization ID first, and then it will verify whether with this ID do we have any organizations exist or not. If it is available, it will verify whether that organization is active or not. If it is active, it will take up your user ID. It will verify whether this user ID belongs to this respective organization or not. If it is related to that, then it will verify whether this user is active or not. If the user is active, then it will go to the user's profile. It will verify inside the profile whether this user is having the rights to create an account record or not. If the user is having the rights to create an account record, then your record will be getting acceptable. This is how Salesforce is going to be processing your request internally. These many number of security checks are available. That's what here Salesforce is providing the more security features to you. Now, so now here in this case here, so that whenever we are going to be creating these profiles here. Now, in this case, I'm having few licenses are available to me. Okay, I'm having few licenses available with me. Like as I'm having one Salesforce license is available, and then 3 platform licenses are available. So that I would like to create the 2 profiles. One profile is of type Salesforce license, second profile will be of type platform license. Now let's see how can we create that. Creating the custom profile. How to create this custom profile? Now let's see. So we have to go to the setup menu. Go to the administrator menu in the left panel. Go to the manage users. Click on profiles. Then click on new profile button. Select the existing profile from the pick list. Enter the new name for the profile. That means clone copy, and then click on save button. So automatically, whatever the name that you are given right now, with that name, that existing profile will be getting copied. That means it will create a copy of the profile itself. Now, in this case, I would like to create the 2 profiles over here. One is Salesforce licensed profile. Second one is platform licensed profiles. Now, we need to create the below 2 profiles. Now, the first one is the Salesforce licensed profile. In this case here, select the existing profile. Existing profile as the standard user. It is a standard user, is a standard profile which has been given by Salesforce, which is of type Salesforce license. And then I'm giving the new name here. New name, nothing but the custom profile name. I'm giving that new name. New name I'm giving like a CIS Salesforce profile. And then I would like to create the platform licensed profile. So now in this case here, existing profile is, I'm using the standard platform user. This is one of the standard profile over here which has been given by Salesforce after platform license. and then I'm giving the new name as CIS platform profile. CIS platform profile. So now here I would like to create these two profiles. How to create? Now let's see. Let's go to the Salesforce instance. Go to the setup menu. Go to the manage users and then click on profiles. Click on new profile button. Now this is a picklist which is populating all the profiles which you have inside your profile object here as of now. It is populating all the profiles. Now whenever I'm going to be cloning that, select the profile standard user. If I'm selecting that standard user, this profile is of type which license? Salesforce. How do you know? Below that it is populating that. Implement, it is providing that license type also. Suppose if I'm changing the profile name over here, automatically it will be indicating that what type of profile it is. Okay. Whenever I'm going to be selecting this one, it will be indicating that profile information also. The respective license information also. For that one, I would like to clone the standard user profile. I'm going to be creating the standard user profile, which is a user to clone. I'm giving the name as CIS Salesforce profile. CIS Salesforce profile. Now just click on save. That's it. Done. Okay, we have created a profile with the name CIS Salesforce profile, which is a Salesforce licensed profile here. Now it is indicating that the license type is of type Salesforce. So inside this profile, we can grant the permissions on applications, objects, fields, tabs, and then Apex classes, record type, general permissions, system permissions, everything. All these permissions we can able to grant over here. How to grant, we'll see. That is a separate concept. Next, I would like to create another profile over here. Click on new profile. I'm selecting that platform profile over here. That is standard platform user, which is a platform licensed profile over here. I'm cloning this one. CIS platform profile. Now click on save button. Automatically a new profile will be getting created with the specified name here. So now two profiles are ready. So in this case here, this is a custom platform licensed profile and the previous one is a Salesforce licensed profile. So once both the profiles are ready, then we can able to create the users. Because here, in order to create that user record, we need a profile and we need a license. So we are having some licenses available with me and we are ready with the profiles also. Then how to create the users in Salesforce, we'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we are going to be discussing about the user management concept. Then how can we manage the users in Salesforce, how to create the users, how to deactivate the users, how to freeze the users, resetting the users' passwords, everything we'll see practically one by one. All these options we can see. And then we'll see the concept of role hierarchy, how to assign the roles to the users, everything we'll see practically one by one.
Because you are speaking about record types, it's already done in our class, or
No,
like
no,
it's
that will be the
going to
next
be
one. That will be the next features. Record types, data loader concept, and then reports and dashboard. Those will be the next one. Because they need the users. That's what. For that one, after the security, we'll be discussing those parts as well. Okay. Now, so in tomorrow's session, we'll see the user management. That is the most important here. How to create the users, how to deactivate, how to freeze, everything we'll see practically one by one. So that we'll see the remaining features one by one. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Let's meet on tomorrow at same time. And today I'm going to be updating that video and then this particular document also. And I will place one PDF file related to this particular, the complete information on this security part, the first part of security. Okay, I will be placing that the PDF file document as well so that you can go through the whole information inside that. Whatever the points I have discussed, every point clearly have documented inside that PDF file so that you can go through that. Okay.
Is there any plans to have class on this Saturday for you guys? I just wanted to get to know early so that.
Yeah. Saturday we'll be having a session and Sunday will be the off. Saturday we have the session at same time. Okay.